My name is Andrew Torres, and I sing and play guitar for the Scene Aesthetic. What's it like being a touring musician in the Scene Aesthetic? Well, it's a lot of fun. You know, like we're super blessed. We get to go all over the country and meet a lot of really awesome people. You know, there are definitely, I wouldn't say downsides to touring, but you know, it's we have to, you know, be in a van for a long time. We drive everywhere. You know, we're always sleeping in a different place, eating at really odd hours. Not a lot of places open, but you know, we get to play music everywhere, and it's a lot of fun. For the most part, it's a really good time. My favorite accomplishment done as a musician, I would have to say, when we were recording with the other band that I was in, Danger Radio, we got to make this awesome record, and we did a good portion of it with this guy named Mike Elizondo, who has worked with various artists that I love. He's worked with Fiona Apple. He did Wake Up Call for Maroon 5. He plays bass for Dr. Dre, and it was just an awesome experience. He's like a really genuinely awesome person, a great songwriter, an awesome musician, and just all around just awesome dude. It was a really good experience, and that's probably like my favorite thing that I've done thus far. I would say my biggest inspirations as an artist would most definitely be, and my favorite artists would definitely be Maroon 5 and Death Cab for Cutie. I love anything like pretty much that Adam Levine and Ben Gibbard do. Like, I both think they're both very just amazing singers, great songwriters, and amazing performers. Definitely people I look up to. I love like Fiona Apple, and just about anything that Emily Haynes has done also. So like Broken Social Scene, Metric, like are also very high up there. You know, the writing process, you know, I feel like it's different every single time. I mean, usually like when I'm writing a song, I will just start playing something on guitar, just something random, and then I just start singing over it, just like random things. And then, you know, the song just naturally progresses together. Like, I really like writing when I'm playing on guitar based off of what I'm singing, because I feel like it helps like the song flow a little better. And yeah, it just kind of just goes from there, you know, like, so basically just start playing guitar, start singing, then write my verse, write my chorus, write my second verse, chorus, bridge, and then just bring it all together. It's kind of, I don't know, yeah. It's like I said, it's different every time depending on like whether or not I'm writing with somebody. Like if I'm in the room and, you know, Eric and I are writing together, we'll bounce ideas off each other, you know, keep each other motivated, and yeah, it's just, it's fun. Being an independent artist has, for sure, like its ups and downs. You know, on the upside, you know, we get to do literally like whatever we want. Like if we wanted to release like a song like today, you know, like we could do that. If we wanted to like release like some horrible demos that we recorded, we could do that too. We can release records whenever we want. We don't need somebody's approval. We also, fortunately enough, get the majority of what's coming in from that, which is also good. Whereas, you know, it's like if you're on a label, like they're taking, you know, usually like a greater cut than you will ever see. But, you know, it also has its downfalls because we have to do everything on our own. All the promotion is done by us or by our fans. Luckily enough, we have really amazing fans, and, you know, it's like, it's very good because you have a lot of freedom, but, you know, it's always nice to have like somebody else that's like helping you out. We've been very fortunate enough to have a lot of really awesome people around to help see through everything, and it's been so far so good. The best advice I could tell any artist is, you know, it's like if you're very passionate about what you do, then just make sure that you don't, you know, give up on it. You know, I feel like, especially right now, there's so many people out there making music and doing like so many things, and the ones that are really going to like stay around and actually do something are the ones that are, you know, just keep going at it, you know. And like the more that you write songs, the better that you're going to get at writing songs. The more that you play music, I mean, the more that you play your instrument, the better you play your instrument. And another thing, I guess, would be to just, like pay attention, like draw influence from, the people around you. It's like you can go out and you can do your own thing and be as original as you want, but you definitely want to like maintain like like really show people like what you're trying to do, and like sometimes like the best way to show people like what you want to do and the kind of artist that you want to be is to draw influence from other artists that you really admire and want to be like. The main thing we did to try and get our music out there, well, the first thing we did was we wrote a song. The first song we ever wrote was Beauty and the Breakdown, as far as like the scene aesthetic goes. And what we did, we did all like the normal stuff. We just like put our songs up on MySpace, told all of our friends about it, and just like tried to like promote as best we could. Like when I was doing stuff with Danger Radio, and like we would like make flyers and we would go to shows and pass out flyers and just like really do whatever we could to just get our name out there. And luckily enough, like with the internet now, it's like so easy for you to like showcase your things to like so many people at once. It's like there's still like a need for you to like make actual interaction with people, and I think it's very good for artists to do that. But we just put ourselves out in every single outlet that we could find. In the beginning with the scene aesthetic, it was really kind of like a funny situation. Like like MySpace had just recently made band pages, and it was like really just an awesome thing because like we put our music up there, and then we were getting a lot of really good feedback from like close friends and like family and just random people that would stumble across from it. But it was kind of funny because at the time you couldn't really like put your songs, like kids like couldn't put like artist songs on their pages, so they would have to embed it in the HTML. And this is what's kind of funny about it, is that like because they were doing that, then every single time that you would go to your friend's page, we would see the plays from that, which was very fortunate for us because it shot us like right to the top of the charts. And after that happened, we just gained such a great fan base so quickly that it just it didn't dwindle down. It was just like it just kept going and going. We just kept seeing more and more progression with like the people that were adding us on MySpace and coming out to shows, and yeah, it was very instantaneous. Like MySpace was definitely like the biggest contributor to like us gaining our success as a band. We've been well, the scene aesthetic technically has never been on a label. Like we signed like a small deal with a friend of ours who had a record label called Destiny Worldwide, and and yeah, like, he helped us out a lot. Like we didn't have any money to like record, so like he helped us like record our album, and we did it all ourselves. And so that was one thing. So it was a much smaller thing. But then with Danger Radio, we'd actually signed a deal with Atlantic Records, and this record label off the side of it called Photo Finish, and that was just, it was insane. Like we got on there, we got to make like this crazy record, like spent a really good amount of time doing it, and like doing everything, just everything was just beautifully done. Like everything was really well. And yeah, we had a whole team of people that we were constantly talking to, and they were pushing out to like marketing, and like then we had like creative people, and it's a whole other world out there is all I can really say about it. It's completely different from doing things on your own. There's tons of people overseeing everything, and it was a lot of fun, but very hectic and stressful. I think if you can be an independent artist and that you're doing well enough on your own, that with the help of the internet, it's like you can do pretty much everything on your own. Like when we first released our CD, we could not, like bands, independent bands could not release stuff on iTunes on their own. You had to go through a label. And now it's not like that. You can just go through TuneCore and upload whatever you want, and it's awesome. So I mean, if you're doing well enough on your own, you know, I don't think that there's necessarily a need for a label until you come to like a certain point. You know, I think that there's like definitely like a crossroads in every band's career after you've like started gaining success where you'll need like that extra like push to get you to like the next level. So I mean, in a way, I think, you know, depending on where you want to be in your career, like if you want to like, you know, just be playing like small clubs and, you know, packing them out, then you could totally be an independent artist, and tons of independent artists are doing that. But then if you want to, you know, obviously be filling out like arenas and stuff, then there's definitely like a need for that extra like push. So it just kind of, it all depends on where you want to stand. I feel like as an artist, everyone kind of, you know, like if you're out there and you're talking to like tons of kids and like you're doing like tons of different things, you know, you definitely should, you know, you hold like a certain like responsibility. Like these kids look up to you, and you know, it's like when you're around, like, I'm not trying to obviously compare like 16-year-old or 17-year-old kids to like a toddler, but you know, it's kind of like the same thing. You know, if you have like a little baby around, you don't want to be like, you want to like show that person like what you think, you know, like it's not necessarily like acceptable, but you know, they respect you and like look up to you, and like will definitely like, you know, when you look up to somebody, like the things that they do rub off on you. So for me, it's like, you know, I want to present myself in what I feel like is the best light, because, you know, if I had like a little sister or something like that, there's definitely things that for me I would feel uncomfortable with her like saying or hearing. So I wouldn't want her to get that from me, even though, you know, obviously like there are things that you do like in, you know, the comfort of your own home or stuff. You know, I don't necessarily think that I like block most of that out, but I definitely have like standards to what I'm like around our fans. So yes, I do think that. Awesome. You know, I think that now that MySpace is like slowed down a lot, that there's definitely a void that, you know, I feel like hopefully like will be filled. And, you know, because it's really hard for like bands to like go out and find other music now. Like from what I've noticed, you know, unless you're like every once in a while, like I'll hop onto iTunes and I'll go like look at a record that I really like, and then underneath it, you know, it says like customers who also bought this liked this record. So I'll sometimes do that, and I know that there's tons of websites out there that do like similar things, like Pandora. I know you can find out lots of new artists, but it's kind of not the same. You know, there's just something really crazy and fun about, you know, like just being able to like look at a chart of like unsigned artists and going on there and just going through every single one and just like, you know, finding your new favorite song and stuff. And I don't think that there's really any other website, you know, yet since MySpace that has done that, you know, like in such a great way. You know, it's funny because I literally just found out about this. And, you know, I think Justin Timberlake is a really smart guy, and I think that having somebody in there, you know, like on their team who's familiar with music, familiar with like, you know, just knows like what they would like to see, instead of just somebody like going in there and just saying, you know, like, well, we've made so many advances in technology that we should keep adding stuff and adding stuff and adding stuff. You know, I feel like it should be like a lot more simple than that, and I just like, you know, I hope that he brings it down to that, and that he makes them realize that, you know, you want to make everything like a little more simple. So I'm really excited, because it's always really exciting to have a musician, you know, have a partnership in something like that, because I feel like they see things in a different light than somebody who like owns a company would. So I'm definitely excited. I think it might make some big changes. I think iTunes has completely changed like the whole game. You know, before like almost like, you know, in a really great way, because you know you don't have to go anywhere. I mean, like a CD can drop and you can just get it right away. You know, it's like it's on your computer, and that's awesome because it's so like accessible, and everything is so accessible now. You know, but I remember when I was in high school, and you know, like not even high school, man. I remember when I was in like elementary school, and like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and Britney Spears, like they were all like huge, and I would like watch MTV because MTV actually played music back then and followed music, and you would like see like, you know, like they would film it like on like TRL, and you would see like the line outside of the door, like of people that have been waiting for like a week to buy this record. They just wanted so badly to be the first person. And there's, you know, for me, you know, like growing up around that, you know, like sometimes when you have like a band that you really love and you like open up a CD and you get to look through all the packaging, that's like something that was always like really exciting to me. And like getting to look, you know, like I always read through like the thank yous to see like who like the band was like thanking, because it's always just like really interesting. You'd be surprised like how often like a lot of the same people will get thanked on every record, because there's a lot of people in the industry who contribute so much to so many great things that you wouldn't even notice. But you know, it's like I don't feel like MySpace is like taking that away, because obviously people are still somewhat buying CDs, but it's definitely taken away like something like I feel like really big from what it used to be like to like go get a CD. How did I go? You know what? Like our first tours, it was hard. There was a lot of begging involved. You know, like for both the bands that I was in, I was always the person that was like booking all of our shows, and I became very good friends with a lot of the people that like ran the venues over there. So I was constantly talking to people, and then when it came to finally like booking like our first like short tours, it was just a lot of just hitting up bands that I knew were having shows, you know, like going and just basically contacting everyone you can. You know, if you have like a basic like route for where you want to go, and then you just like look up venues in the area, you know, you can email a promoter and just say, you know, like, hey, I'd love to be on this show, I'm coming through town, and that's basically what we did. And then, you know, like it shifted like a tiny bit, and like we got like some help from our friends, but it was still like so weird, because you know, like when you know, there's just so, I don't know, it was just crazy. It was just a complete mess all the time, but it was you know, it's gratifying. Oh, touring's completely different now. You know, there's so much more structure to everything. Like, you know, like we know when we're supposed to be there. We know exactly what we do when we get to the venue. We're like blessed and completely fortunate enough now to have somebody who like helps us like book our tours and get us on tours. So that's a huge blessing and a huge weight off our shoulders. And you know, like there's a guarantee every night, so we know exactly what we're getting paid. So it's like it's a completely different ball game from when we first started. There's a lot more like certainty, and you know, just everything's on a schedule, and it's very good. It's a lot. Weirdly enough, you'd think that when you have like a schedule like that, that'd be like less like laid back, but it feels more relaxed knowing exactly what you got to do. Yeah, we've had tons of really bad shows. It's, you know, I say that obviously with all the kindness in my heart, but there's always going to be like shows, you know, like, or always like just entire tours, you know, because oftentimes, you know, like the people that come to the shows are usually there to see somebody specifically, and then everybody else, you know, that plays are just kind of like either like the icing on the cake or an annoyance, and we've been both. So, you know, like there've been tons of times where we've played shows and everybody's looking at us like, who are these guys? Like, I don't know. But, you know, then at the end of the night, you know, we always meet a couple really amazing new fans who had never heard us before, so that's always good. Well, the best show of my life, I would probably have to split up between two different ones. Weirdly enough, they were both at the same place. This basically like old stomping grounds. We used to play this place in Bellevue, Washington called Ground Zero a lot, and it was like this small, tiny little teen center that was run by a very dear friend of ours. And like the place, I think the capacity was maybe like supposed to be, I would say it was supposed to be probably like around like 150, 200. So it was a very small place, but we would always cram in there like 300, like 350 people. So it was always like really packed when we played there. It was awesome. And like the first really great, it was actually like a very big turning point in my life because it was just unreal. It was like, you know, it was like, I think I was probably around like 18 or 19, and we played a show with Danger Radio at Ground Zero, and we were playing last, and then all the sound went out, and we were getting ready to play our very last song, which was an encore song. And I don't really know if the people at the venue were very okay with us playing that because, you know, they had to get out of there at a certain time. So they cut off the microphone. And then, like, I was getting ready to, I was like in the middle of singing like the first few lines of the song, and the microphone went out, and the kids still wanted us to keep playing it. So they were literally like, everybody in this room, there were like 300 people in this room who were just singing at the top of their lungs, like this song. And it was just unreal. Like, we played through the whole song with like no microphone, just like kids like singing along, and just us rocking out and just having a good time. And I think that was like the biggest turning point in my life, because I had never like felt like, it was just like the most crazy feeling, like just having like, knowing that you would like touched like so many people in that way. You know, like these people are like there to see you, and I don't know, it was just a very insane moment in my life. Oh man, I've had everything but the run-of-the-mill recording experience. You know, like when we were doing the Danger Radio record, like it was so like, we worked with so many different people that it was like every single day we were just like, we wrote a song and then we would record everything for it like that day, which was so weird because, you know, normally you'd go through the process and you'd go into the studio already, had written everything, you'd record your drums and your bass and then your guitars, and, you know, it's like everything's done, you know, because you already have your drums set up, so why not just record all the, but yeah, it was, for that, it was very much like one song at a time. It took a very long time, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's just turned out awesome. And then, like, when we were recording Brother, it was such a different experience because we brought in musicians to do all the, you know, like, just like we brought in like a drummer and piano player and a couple of guitarists and a bassist, and they were all just like these wonderful and amazing musicians. And, you know, I would play the song to them right there. Like, they had never heard these songs before, like, and I would play it through them, and then they would write down, you know, like the key changes and stuff, and then like they just sat down in the room together and like they played the song, and it was just like the magic that happens, you know, when you are in a studio and like watching like these people just like feed off each other's just basically like imagination is just insane. Like, I had never experienced anything like it until then. So we recorded all of that live. So everything you hear on Brother is just all the instruments were recorded together, and it was just really awesome. It was just a completely different thing. Cause I actually listened to some of the Pro Tools sessions not too long ago, and was like, was curious. I was like, well, what did this guy play here, so that we could, you know, use it in the live show and teach our guitarists everything. And you'd be surprised at how many like I almost don't even want to say mistakes, because they're so much a part of what the song is, but, you know, like just things like played like wrong, and you like hear them when you like single everything out, but then when it's all together, it just sounds like this beautiful song. I don't know. This is crazy. If I could do everything again, there's only there's very little that I would do differently. I mean, like, I have a much better understanding now of who I want to be as an artist and as a musician, and like the kind of person that I would want to, like, you know, like, for how people to perceive us as a band. You know, I feel like your image is one of your most crucial, you know, like, something very important in a band. You know, it's kind of like almost sad to say, but, you know, I would have probably branded us just a little bit differently. But other than that, honestly, we've had a crazy time, and I don't think that I would change just about any of it.